Hello, happy YouTubers. This is Marcelina. So today we're going to grow our peony in a larger container. Since this is in the small pot, so I'm going to transfer this in a bigger pot. And stay with me all the way to the end because I'm going to cover some requirements of how you want to grow your peony, and also we're going to cover or answer few common questions that you guys might have. So this is going to help you grow your peonies. So let's go ahead and get it started. So I'm going to transfer this peony in this spot to this spot. And this is a little bit larger. And I created a hole around it so it creates ventilation and also plenty of holes in the bottom.
Hey guys, hope you're enjoying our videos. If you'd like to see more advanced gardening ideas, subscribe and click now. And please click the bell to be notified when we upload a new video. It's easy and it's free.
All right, so let's lime this soil. Now I use this type to raise the pH. If the pH is too low, that's why you have to raise your pH by liming. If it is too high, you have to use soil acidifier. But since this plant prefers more alkaline side, you have to lime it. Now I will need 4 scoop. It is required 4 scoop per plant. And I will distribute this onto the soil. So always check your pH. That is the number one requirement before you fertilize the plant, because it is very essential for the nutrients to be absorbed. Now I will check this within 1 month and see where I'm at. And also the peat also balance the pH, also helping this plant. Now I'm going to add bone meal. So I have this bone meal. Now let's talk about fertilizer. Peony is heavy feed with NPK. Now you fertilize in spring and summer, and then stop your fertilization in the fall. So I might give it 3 scoop of bone meal. The soil prepares fertile soil, well drained, and we give it a good soil. So mix around the plant. This is what you are going to avoid. If you see your plant is undergone stress, don't fertilize because you are just making it worse. Now I'm going to water this plant. Now here's the question. Will the water pH, the pH of water affects your peony soil environmental condition? Absolutely. If you have too much rain, it changes the pH. So this is why you have to keep an eye with your peony. All right. Now we are done with our fertilization. Let it drain, and then let's put this in the sunny side area. All right, so I place my peony here in this area because it gets a good amount of sunlight in the morning, and then in the afternoon it's a little bit filtered. If you have too hot weather, you have to give it protection because it can burn the leaves. So hopefully this peony will give me an awesome blooms. Now, let's talk about pruning. You will prune your peony when at the end of the season. You have to cut down. So like this one here, cut back. So in the spring, it gives you a better bloom. Now let me show you another container that I have here. All right, so this is my other peony. Look at that, it's already blossoming. And I placed in this container. This container, plants don't survive. So what I did, I removed all this half of the soil because it was compacted, and peony doesn't like compact soil. It has to drain so the root can absorb water nutrients properly. And I mix a little bit of sweet peat, and look at that, it's beautiful. So I had to look at the type of peony I was growing. I lost my tag. Normally I keep my tag every time I buy some plants, and probably I place it somewhere, but I will search this type of peony because there are so many different varieties of peonies and also different blooms. So you can use the flower to have a, cut flower and mix it with allium flower. They're beautiful. Now let's talk about some common questions that you guys might have. Now, if you ask me, Marcelina, my peony attracts ants. Absolutely, it attracts ants because as you can see, the flowers create this sweet nectar. And how do you deal with the ants? Well, you want to tip down the plant and drown the ant. I, I was just experimenting yesterday about the ant to spray it with acetic plus. Oh my gosh, I killed the ant. I killed the slugs with just acetic plus and spray it. And I did not video. And Greg said you should video it to show you guys and how this acetic plus, killed those pests. So you just spray, and it doesn't harm the plant to avoid ants. Aphid is another thing. Those sucking pests will attract because the plant itself creates this sweet substance. Now, this one was going to bloom. Now, another question I get from other people, they say that what type of diseases. So this is going the topic that I'm going to discuss in the next video on the different diseases common to the plants. So when you grow peony, especially for beginners, you might have different type of diseases, and like Phytophthora or any type of blights. So I'm going to cover that in my next video to give you guys a little bit of information. So another question is that, like, do you prune your peony? I already mentioned that. Yes, you do. You need to prune. If there is dead branches, you have to remove it. And if your plant is infested or infected of fungus, because sometimes like Phytophthora suje is a soil pathogen, soil-borne pathogen that live in soil with the environment. Like if it is too wet or you have constant rain and then your soil is too soggy, so Phytophthora is going to attack your plant. So if it happens, you can just remove the infected area, which I'm going to show you guys how I did, because I had one peony that was in the container, and I was wondering the following day, I said, what happened to my peony? And I saw this black discoloration from the stem, and then from the discoloration is radiating from the stem all the way down. So what I did, I removed the plant and checked the crown. The crown was wet and mushy, so that was part of the infection. So I removed all those gooey stuff, and I soak with Azatic. Now there are two types of Azatic that I had here. If you guys want to try it, the Azatic class is great in combating almost 200 pests. But it also helps fungus. The most effective azat is the azotic, the concentration. If you can get that concentration, just add 1 full cup in water and mix the concentrate, and then try to pour that to your plant, even if it is not infected. That's what I did here, even if it is infected. But that plant, the peony, was at the back of the house, and I did not notice it right away. Otherwise, I would treated it right away. But hopefully, I can give it back to life again. But I will show you guys, and I will show you how I treated, and then I might give you an update how the plant will survive. So we covered the care tape, not care tape, care tips. First is the sunlight. You give at least 6 to 8 hours of direct sun. And then the second one is watering. Now, how often do you water your peony? So you water only once a week. And if it is too hot, because it is in container, you water twice in 1 week. And don't water during in winter, because it is less active during the time. So that's what you water. Now your number one is the pH. As I mentioned earlier in this video, you always check your pH first. Any plants that you grow in your garden, pH first, because pH causes everything. It causes absorption of nutrients if it is not corrected, and then your plant will be stressful because it doesn't get enough water. It doesn't absorb water properly because of the pH. If it is too high or it is too low, so you get to know your plant, the plant pH. What I have done here in my garden, all these plants, I have more than 1,000 plants, I think. So I know exactly what my plants need. So because I monitor it many times, so everything before I fertilize, I check the pH first. Like if I grow citrus, I check the pH first to ensure that the pH is corrected. Because if the citrus trees pH is too high, then it affects the absorption of some of nutrients and minerals. Now, again, that is the most important. I would say number one requirement is checking the pH. Now, the soil, the peony thrives in a soil that is rich and filtered. What is that? It is like you add compost to it, and some gardeners would add like bone meal, like what I did. I added bone meal because it helps the plant to produce flower. And you can give any kind of fertilizer. I would say apply fertilizer 10-10-10, because it's not too much. And especially during when there is when you planted from the tubers, you want a good start, and then give just a little bit of value of the nutrients. You need your NPK to introduce to your plants. Now, the what else? Container. So when you choose the container, so the bigger is better, because it allows the root to grow a little bit, have more rooms for the root to expand, and also it helps your plant. It grows a little bit bigger and taller. Some of the peony will grow like 6 feet or 5 feet, depending on the type of the varieties. And this one here is almost like more than 2 feet. Now, peony came from China, and sometimes you find peony some of the countries like in Europe or in Asia. And I did not grow the peony in the Philippines, and I grew here in the United States because I love the color of the flower. This is one of a kind of flowers that I enjoyed cultivating besides roses, and roses are my favorite flower. So again, sunlight, container, choosing right container, make sure that there is a lot of air circulation for the roots to take up oxygen, and then water it properly. And if you can use it free of chlorine, use that, and water only when needed. Don't water too much because it could cause root rot. And then food nutrients, you can apply compost. You can add compost to the soil, or you can give 10-10-10. So it has to be a less number. Don't put too much fertilizer because you end up of having foliage instead of flowers. Now I have a question from one of my friends. Said, Marcelina, I have this peony for so long, but I don't get it to bloom. And the problem is that probably you did not give the right amount of sunlight, and also probably you did not fertilize properly, and also the pH is a problem. Now, pests and diseases, as I mentioned, I will cover that later on in my next video, because there are a few diseases that will kill your peony if you don't take care right away. So I hope this video helped you guys, and this is for now. And thank you for viewing. And if you haven't subscribed to this channel, subscribe guys, and don't forget to open your notification so every time you watch my video, you get it right away. So again, thank you guys. This is Marcelina at cashewgreens.com. See you next time. Peace out.